Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I have a friend, and probably you do too, who's rather, shall we say, loquacious. If I only have a few minutes to chat, I know better than to answer the phone if it's her. On the other hand, if I'm on a long trip or I want to get my steps in, I love to call her and the time flies. A simple "how are you doing today" can receive an hour of explanation. Sometimes I get more than I bargained for. That's what happened in the synagogue at Antioch in Pisidia in Acts 13. While on a missionary journey, Paul and Barnabas would stop in a city and go straight to the synagogue. On the Sabbath, after their Torah readings and regular service, the tradition was to ask any visitors if they had anything to say. Usually they would bring greetings from another synagogue or comment on what had been read. But when they extended this courtesy to Paul and his party, they got a bit more than they bargained for. 26 verses later, everyone in the synagogue had heard the gospel. Paul sure took every opportunity. In the end, he invited all who feared God, Jews and Gentiles present at the meeting, to believe, to be free from everything the law couldn't free them from. And what was that? Sin. The law could point out sin, bring it to the surface, but it couldn't get rid of it, forgive it. Jesus' blood provided the only way to be forgiven. How did the listeners at this Antioch synagogue respond? Many Jews and proselytes who were Gentiles who'd become Jewish by being circumcised begged Paul and Barnabas to stick around and preach the next Sabbath. They were curious. Some were downright hungry for the word and followed Paul and Barnabas all week. By the next Sabbath, almost the whole city gathered to hear them. They were really ready for harvest. But looking around at the crowd, some of the Jewish leaders began to see that they were losing control, and they became jealous. Just think if you worked at a store on commission, and some young upstart began work and was suddenly getting all the business, or in an office where a new employee came and got promoted over you. Jealousy can ruin otherwise wonderful friendships and other relationships. These Jews began to contradict and revile Paul and Barnabas as they spoke. Then Paul and Barnabas said, "We shared the word of God with you first, but since you reject it, we are turning to the Gentiles. Salvation is for all." Paul and Barnabas loved their people, the Jews. They always went to the synagogues first so that the Jews would have an opportunity to be involved in bringing the light to the Gentiles with them, so they could be part of God's promise to Abraham that his family would be a blessing to all the families of the earth. This didn't always work out, but that was the plan. They wanted so badly for their fellow Jews to know their promised Messiah. What opportunities has God offered you? Have you enthusiastically embraced those opportunities and joined God in His work? Or have you, like the Jews, thrust it aside? Where can you join God in His work today?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.